In this tutorial, we're going to look at the Dget or database get formula in Excel. While many of you do not know this formula, it is useful in some situation and it can surpass the vlookup formula. So let me show you in this tutorial how to use it and what are the advantages and drawbacks of this formula. We're going to start with the basics. So here I have a table which has the division, name, sales in year 1 and year 2. And I want to get the sales in year 1 for agent 2. So what I'm going to do is equal dget. We open the parentheses. We need first to select the database. It is very important to select your data with the header names because what this formula does, it looks now at this as a database. So I'm going to select it. If you have formatted this as an Excel table by doing insert and then table, you can just select the table, it's the same. Then we do comma. We need to select the field. So what is my return column? Basically, I can either type it like this in double quotation mark, sales Y1, and it has to be the same name you have as a header in your database. Or if I cannot type it or I don't want to type it, I can select a cell that has it. For example, this is the cell that has what I want. Then comma, I need my criteria. For my criteria, it is important to put the header of the column in the database plus what I want. So in this case, for example, I have name, which is available here, and I want agent 2. So I'm just going to select both of them, and then I can just close my parentheses. In order to drag this, I'm just going to do F4 here, 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 and here. Then I press enter, you get 28, which corresponds to the sales of agent 2 in year 1. If I want year 2, I just have to drag the formula. Why? Because this is set and this is set. The only thing that changes is my field, and then I get 23, which is the sales of agent 2 in year 2. Next, we're going to look at left lookup. So one advantage of dget versus vlookup is that it can look up from the right to the left. VLOOKUP, as we know, it only looks up from the left to the right, but it doesn't do it from the right to the left. So let's try it. Here what I've done in this table, I just put the name here instead of having it before sales 1. And what we're going to do is the same thing. Dget, open parentheses, let's select our database, and then comma, my field is my sales, and then the criteria is this. So no matter where I have my columns in the database, it's going to give me the result. Number 3, approximate matches. So if you have an approximate match, it will work with dget. Let me show you. So here we have the same data set. The only difference is that I gave names to those agents. So here I have a Natalie Porter. So I'm writing Natalie without Porter. I'm just going to try the dget formula. Equal dget, same database. My field is sales year 1. And then my criteria is name and Natalie. So here, after closing the parentheses, I can get the sales of Natalie in year 1. If I start, for example, with Lara, I will get 19, which is the sales of Lara in year 1. Now the problem though is, here I have Lara scarf. So if I type scarf, for example, it's not going to work. It's going to give you value. So it only works when you start it. So it will look what you have starting from scarf with anything after it. So this is one thing to keep in mind. The fourth thing we're going to look is how it works with OR. Again, this is something that is better than vlookup. So for example, if I want to get the sales of agent 2 or agent 11, so I'm not sure if the name of the person was agent 2 or agent 11 because the person has a couple of IDs, I can use this formula and modify it to look for it in my database. Here I only have agent 2, so if we do equal dget, open parentheses, my database is this, comma, my field is G1, sales year 1, comma. Now in my criteria, what I can do is select the 3 rows. So I have name and then agent 2, agent 11. So I'm telling dget, Either get me agent 2 if it's available, if not, get me agent 11. So you close the parentheses, you do enter. This is 28, so this is correct. Now if this is called agent 11, you still get 28. Now the problem comes when you have duplicates. And this is not only for the OR scenario, it could be for anything. So for example, if I have two agent 2s, you get an error. If I have agent 2 and agent 11 in this case, you get an error. So this is another drawback of this formula. With vlookup or index and match, it will return the first match that it finds, but here it will give you an error. Let's look finally at the AND scenario. So if I want to have several criterias with vlookup, I cannot do it. This formula will help you do it. So here I want the name as agent 2 and I want the division as division 1. So this is the record that I want. I also want this 28 sales. So let's work on it. Equal dget, open parentheses, my database is this, my field is this one, and then my criteria. Instead of selecting just this, I can just select it this way as long as the titles are in my database. So let's close the parentheses, enter, you get 28. If I change this and make it division 2, so now this becomes this record, let's do it, you can see that I get the 19. So this is about it for dget. As I showed you, Dget is good because you can do a left lookup, you can do an approximate match to some extent. It takes an OR case, it takes an AND case. However, there is one drawback about having duplicates in the data. It will not work. And the second drawback is if I go, for example, to my basic formula, if I have here agent 3, for example, and I want to drag this formula, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna have value. Why am I getting values? Because I have to have in my criteria the name and the agent. So here if my name is this row and the agent is this row, it is very hard to combine them together. And in this case, you might want to use a vlookup formula. Please let me know what you think about this function. Did you know it from before? Did you just discover it? Do you like it? Do you prefer it versus vlookup? And as usual, to help this channel grow, please like this video and subscribe to the channel.